So I have been on the roads for about 6 days, starting my journey from Kolkata, then making my way through northern Bengal, then crossing the Assam border, making my way towards Guwahati, and then through Kaziranga National Park till here in Makum, Tinsukia. So these are the oil towns over here in eastern Assam, and for today's episode I will be making my way towards the northeastern part of Arunachal Pradesh, to be precise the Dibang Valley, the upper and lower Dibang Valley. My goal would be to reach Anini, which is around 319 kilometers from Tinsukia, and a little brief about the place where I will be going, that is Dibang Valley, or to be precise lower Dibang Valley for today, because later on I will be only able to reach Hunli, which you will find out why. So the entire Dibang Valley, both the upper and lower Dibang Valley, consist of the two tribes, that is Idu and Idu Mishmi tribes. So yeah, it's going to be a fun journey exploring the upper and lower Dibang Valley over there. And yeah, without wasting any further time, let's hop on to the motorcycle.
ছবি তুলছো? চলো টাটা।
So the journey began very smoothly, and the roads from Makum Tinsukia till Roing, it's a very scenic one. As you can see, there are a lot of tea estates all around, and there's also a railway line beside it. Obviously it's for the transportation of all the goods over here towards the bigger towns or cities in India.
This town has a quite a unique name. So the name is Dumduma. Dumduma town. Nice one, nice one.
Soon I came across the longest bridge in India, that is the Dhola Sadia bridge, which is 9.5 kilometers long. Can you believe it? And it is situated in one of the most remotest locations in India, where hardly any tourists visit. But yeah, that's a fact, and it's huge.
I am officially entering the Dhola Sadia bridge. So it starts basically from the part which is completely dried up like this. You can see people have settled down here on the banks over here as well. Here we go. I can see the banks are ending over there.
So the bridge spans across Lohit River, one of the major tributaries of the Brahmaputra.
This part of the river is so huge. You can see small clusters of island forming in the middle of it.
As you can see, the river is super clean, and it's got to do with the population over here, and also there are hardly any big industries over here to pollute the river as compared to the Gangetic Plains, where there are a lot of industries around. As the bridge came to an end, the main thing that was bothering me was where to find ILP, that is Inner Line Permit. So if you want to enter Arunachal Pradesh, you got to show an Inner Line Permit for the place. So you can obviously apply online, but due to COVID, it was restricted, and the rules over there was that to go to the nearby border through where you want to enter Arunachal and apply for an Inner Line Permit over there physically. So yeah, I had to ask the guards over here regarding it, and later on came to know that there's a border known as Shantipur up ahead, which is the Assam Arunachal border, where I would get the Inner Line Permit.
ये शांतिपुर है ना, ये आसाम का लास्ट बॉर्डर है क्या? अच्छा, ये सादिया मतलब आसाम में पड़ता है। तो ILP कहाँ पे मिलेगा? इनर लाइन परमिट थोड़ा आगे वो ग्रीन कलर बोर्ड देखा है ना? हाँ हाँ। Well, this is the Shantipur area which divides Arunachal and Assam.
A few moments later.
Well, got my inner line permit, so it says it's a temporary one. It should be valid for 3 or 4 days. They charge 50 rupees.
So after the successful issuing of the Inner Line Permit, it was time to move in because it was getting really late, and as it is, I'm always a late starter.
Well, officially the foothills of Himalayas are visible in the skyline. So these are the eastern Himalayas, but yeah, still the Himalayas, the mighty Himalayas. Anini 238 kilometers, Roing 3 kilometers. Anini should be my destination in this route, but yeah, let's see where I can reach by tonight. Welcome to Roing. Well, This is Rowing Town, and I am seeing a lot of wine shops and alcohol shops around. Apparently alcohol is pretty cheap in Arunachal, and people over here, I have heard, enjoys having some good alcohol every weekend. And there are a lot of hotels around as well.
I have stopped over here in Rowing, so just to have lunch. That's one plate of chicken momo, 12 pieces. So yeah, it's a huge quantity over here in Arunachal. But yeah, so the plan was to stop here at Rowing if I think that I would not be able to reach Anini. But what I have asked the locals over here is that so I can move till Hunli or Mayodhya. Over there might be couple of places of stay. So let's see, and we'll plan according to it. I came to the conclusion that Hunli would be the ideal place, which is around 81 kilometers or 88 kilometers from Rowing. But yeah, it's a 3 hours journey from there.
So there is not going to be any petrol pumps post Rowing up till Anini, which is about 255 kilometers, and my motorcycle has a range of around 300 kilometers. So I have already ridden about 90 odd kilometers, so I don't think I should take a chance like that. I know there might be some places where I can get some petrol on the black, but yeah, still should not take any chances over here in these parts. So let's fill her up. Yep, the prices in Arunachal is about a rupee or maybe 2 or 3 rupees cheaper than the rest of India.
A few moments later.
It's written Etalin 178, Hunli 88, Mayodhya 54, and Anini, that's my location where I want to visit. So that's 227 kilometers. So my suggestion to anyone visiting Anini or in these parts, wow, this is a cool bridge. Wow, really cool. So yeah, my suggestion, those who are visiting Anini, would be to start really early. So by that way you can reach there before sunset, especially to motorcyclists who are traveling solo. Otherwise you can take your time and begin a bit late if you are starting from Rowing. But yeah, if you are starting from somewhere near Assam like me, like Tinsukia, Makum, Digboy, whatever place you are staying, start a bit early. That's my suggestion to you, because the roads over here are extremely remote and there are hardly any tourists from outside who comes to this place, especially towards Anini, because it's one of the most remotest villages in India. That's what I have heard.
So post Rowing, the roads are really good and flat, which connects to the NH 313. And over there I met couple of bikers. They were really experienced bikers and they had certain problems.
Yes, hi.
Where are you going?
Anini.
Anini. Now you are going to Anini?
Maybe I will take a halt at Mayodhya.
Okay, achha. So a little bit of help from your side.
Yeah.
So what happened is on our way down, I dropped the bag like this.
Okay.
So they asked for my assistance if I could help them in search their wallet up ahead somewhere near Mayodhya, and I assured them that yeah, I will do my best. And also they gave me advice about the roads that were up ahead post Hunli and in Hunli. So yeah, they went till Hunli and advised me not to go further than that.
You were telling that you did not visit Anini, so is there any problem or?
One is it is very far away and the roads are horrible.
Okay.
And we are cutting the highway also.
Okay.
So it's very tricky. So what we did was, it was already nightfall.
Hmm.
We stayed at a place called Hunli. Hunli is a very nice place.
Okay.
You can now also, if you try,
You won't be able to make it to Anini. It is not possible.
Yeah, I know that it's not possible.
Ladakh is nothing.
Yeah.
But here actually what happens, you just be careful. I'm telling you, first year, second year, max. Don't try anything.
Okay.
Or it's really slippery.
Sleepy out there.
Actually that time when we went there, actually bit rainy kind of.
There's water up there. Also.
Okay.
So just be careful.
When experienced riders gives you advice, I think you should always listen to them. I did not listen, which you will find out in the next episode. But yeah, that's a complete story altogether.
Okay, see you. So I am still climbing up and the roads are still good. but it's only a matter of time that when the roads will take a turn. Wow, 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 wow. Simply amazing. So the bad patches, I think, have officially begun. Here we go. This looks like a landslide area. Okay, have to be careful now. So the riders were telling me Ladakh and all are okay, but this is a different ball game altogether. So let's see what more challenges do I face up ahead. But the roads over here are extremely narrow, that I have to admit. But if you combine slush with this narrowness of the road, so yeah, you're not going to get a good combination. Shit man, this is a landslide area. I can completely say it. How cool is this road? Passing straight through some mountain forest. Wow. Really hope that I do not get attacked by some wild animals over here. So I have been standing over here for the past 20-25 minutes behind this Kali Mandir and just having a view of the beautiful scenery around, and I have seen no one coming or passing by this road. So you all can understand how remote this place is going to be. And post Mayodhya, I don't think I would find any tourist today. So yeah, let's see. Well, these are the bulls over here, also known as Mithun. A bit like the yaks in Ladakh, but a lot less furry and obviously a lot more muscles to pack in.
After Roing, the major landmark would be Mayodhya Pass, which is about 56 kilometers from Roing and situated at an altitude of 8,711 something feet.
So I have reached Mayodhya Pass.
Mayodhya Pass, according to many, is one of the most lowest altitude passes in the Himalayas.
It's really cold up here near Mayodhya Pass, even though it's not snowing. Let's see the temperature. Yeah, it is easily 1 or 2 degrees out here. And that's the view. Brilliant. These are all landslide zones, I can say it. Have to be careful about the slush in these parts. Though construction work is going on, I can see. Wow, simply amazing. The slush are getting deeper right now. I think the best thing to do in these roads are take your own sweet time. Don't hurry, because especially if you are a motorcyclist, you are on 2 wheels, so you have to keep that in mind. And slush is definitely not your best friend out here. I think this might be 65. The area is known as 65. I don't know if it is named by the army or something like that, but yeah, let's see.
You know you are entering a remote location when the name of the places are named numerically, as here it was known as 65. Basically, if you look closely, these are all temporary makeshift villages, if I might call it, because these are only meant to serve the passerbys which goes through this route. So there are a couple of hotels over here. So one is Hotel 65 and the other one I don't know, but yeah, you can obviously guess it. Their only purpose is to serve the passerbys over here and the road workers over here. And finally, in 65, I found this hotel where the bikers' wallet were kept by one of the passerbys over here, and I inquired about the biker's wallet, and the lady and the guy who were there, they were very supportive enough. They told me that the wallet is safe, so I later told them that if the military vehicles comes through, just inform them. Later on the military guys will handle it. And one thing I would like to say, you can trust the locals over there because they are really simple people and they have nowhere to go. So yeah, if anything gets stolen over here in these parts, or if you have lost anything over here, rest assured your items are going to stay over there in Dibang Valley because no one is going to run away from there.
Many were telling to stay over here in 65, but apparently these guys are telling it's better that if I stay in Honli. The people over here in Hotel 65 itself. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully we'll reach Honli before sunset. Damn it. Have to be extremely careful. And this is not the right time for the land to slide in over me. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. It's going to be a painful day for the crouch area. I am definitely feeling it.
So later on it was getting really dark, as you can see, and also to make it worse, the visibility was also not the best over there. So I had to find the Ivy guest house which the early bikers and the lady in the Hotel 65 mentioned.
Oh, so nice. Sideboards after so long. Only 0 kilometers. Tinsukia. There's a road for Tinsukia towards left. I don't know. Rowing 90. Italian and Anini 139 odd kilometers. Okay, let's find some place to stay.
And after a lot of search, I finally entered Honli and found the Ivy quarters over there. So it was taken care by an old lady over there who lived at the bottom of the hill.
This is the guest house. So let's see. And this is the room the caretaker has provided me. A very basic room of the Ivy guest house. So she's making some food for me and it's really cold up here. The problem over here is that it's already 6:25, so there's going to be electricity in this part till about 7 o'clock, and after that nothing. So yeah, I have to adjust over here and charge up my gears, I guess. And one more thing, so the roads from rowing up till here, it has been good at certain points, but at certain points it's really tricky. So if you are coming solo, please avoid riding at night or after sunset. Do as much ride as possible during the sunshine hours. So yeah, that's the best advice I would give to someone.
A few moments later.
So the food looks quite delicious. Rice, cabbage, potatoes, yeah, and hot water. Extremely basic. So yeah, let's dig in. Oh, really good and fresh. And it's cold out here, so yeah, whatever hot stuff you give me, it is going to taste good. So yeah. स्मार्टफोन है ना आपके पास, तो इंटरनेट है?
मालूम नहीं है, मोबाइल में होगा। हाँ, वो चीज़ भी मालूम नहीं है।
सिर्फ BSNL है क्या यहाँ पे कनेक्शन?
हाँ, कनेक्शन वो है।
इसके अलावा और कुछ करते हो आंटी?
और तो क्या करेगा, बागान करेगा। एक पैसा दो पैसा कमाने के लिए तो कुछ तो उपाय तो करना पड़ेगा।
खेती करते हो?
मोरा दुकान करता है, कभी ड्यूटी करता है, कभी दुकान जाता है।
अच्छा, दुकान है आपका? किस चीज़ का?
छोटा कपड़ा।
अच्छा।
हम लोग का भाषा तो चाइना जैसे बोलता है।
ईदू मिशू का ना? ईदू मिशू है ना?
ये जो यहाँ का ईदू है, तेजू में ईदू मिशू में।
So let me give you a just brief about the Idus over here in Arunachal. So Idus are one of the 27 tribes which habitates in Arunachal Pradesh. So they habitate on the Dibang Valley, as you can see over here. And as far as their language is concerned, they don't have a written scripture. So whatever language they have learned, so it's passed on from generations to generations verbally.
ये जो ईदू मिशु है, जो ईदू लोग हैं,
हाँ
तो ये जनरली एक ट्राइब के लोग हैं ना.
हाँ.
तो इन लोग क्या, आप लोग बाद में हिंदू हुए या हिंदू थे पहले से?
हिंदू भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है, धर्म नहीं मानता है.
धर्म नहीं मानते हैं.
जो आजकल तो सब मालूम हो गया, मानता है.
तो लेकिन आपको देख रहे हो, आप बहुत धर्म कर रहे हो. मतलब आप धर्म मानते हो?
हम लोग तो भगवान का नहीं जानने से भी थोड़ा मरा अगरबत्ती तो जलाता ही है, भगवान का तो करता ही है.
तो कृष्णा विष्णा को मानते हो?
हाँ, मानता है.
अच्छा अच्छा. Really interesting perspective from auntie over here. So she is telling that she belongs to the Idu tribe. Idu tribe, na auntie? So she speaks the language of Idu. And the thing is, generally these tribes generally don't believe in any religion or that sort of a thing. But somehow, her talks with me, I somehow got the feeling that she is a believer of God. So she was into Krishna, Radha, and all that sort of stuff. And later on, she was asking if I was a Muslim or a Hindu boy. So that's a different point. But the point is, she is a believer in God. So she calls herself as Hindu. So yeah, really interesting. So initially, I did not thought something like that. But yeah, really interesting perspective. So yeah, this is the IB guest house where I will be staying for tonight, alone, in the middle of nowhere. She is going downhill. So yeah, it's going to be a scary night, but yeah.
So I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and if you really have liked it, do share the episode with your friends or family members as well. And as far as the next episode is concerned, I will be making my way towards Anini from Hunli through the National Highway 313, if I might call it National Highway, because there are no roads. If you can see, there are no roads, and this road is probably the most toughest road in India according to me, because I have ridden in Ladakh, I have ridden in Kashmir, and I have also ridden in parts of Himachal, and I have never encountered such dangerous roads over there as well. And to be honest, I almost died a couple of times, maybe couple or maybe once, I don't know. You all be the judge in the next episode, but yeah, you are getting my point. I went through landslides, I crashed my motorcycle, and yeah, a lot of story is also going to unfold in the next episode. So I hope you all will stay tuned, and thank you.
It's 7:30 and it's completely dark. Look at the place. Definitely looks like a haunted house.